So we took a test to make sure I wasn't pregnant. I was in complete shock. I did great in school. I'm going to Florida State. I'm doing all the right things. This doesn't happen to me. Alex wouldn't do that.
In that moment, you almost sort of black out. We always think it's not going to happen to us.
I ended up calling the Planned Parenthood, and the girl was just cutthroat. All these emotions. You're like, I'm pregnant. I'm scared. I haven't told anybody except for my one friend. I'm like in a bottle, scared to death. You know, when you're walking around on campus, people look at you a little different.
Be proud. Be excited. You can't undo what's been done, and allowing that black cloud to just follow you and to keep that shame alive, it does only hurt us. She was a full-time student at Florida State University, working full-time, cheering competitively, and convinced she had her future perfectly planned out until a positive pregnancy test changed everything at 21 years old. Afraid of being viewed differently, she kept her pregnancy a secret from her cheer squad, even competing at 21 weeks pregnant, before finally telling her team. In this episode, Alex shares the pressure, loneliness, and determination it took to navigate motherhood while finishing college. Her story is yet again a reminder that an unplanned pregnancy does not mean your life is over. To stay in the know about guests and to get sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, be sure to follow Unplanned and Untold on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find those links and a way to support this completely donor-funded podcast by clicking the links in this episode's show notes. Without further ado, let's welcome Alex to Unplanned and Untold. Alex, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. So I always love to start the podcast with telling our listeners a little bit about what life was like prior to becoming pregnant. So you went to school in South Florida, is that correct?
Yep, I went to Florida State.
Okay, you're a Seminoles fan, huh?
Yes. Big Seminoles.
Big Seminoles fan. I went to high school in Fort Lauderdale. So a lot of my friends went to FSU or UF or UCF. So I'm very familiar with your campus.
Yes, good. Great place.
So what was life like there at FSU prior to getting pregnant?
Life was fun. FSU is a party school. So I definitely had my fair share. It was a great time, but I did really enjoy school. I did the cheerleading team, so it was fun.
Wow. So talk to me a little bit about the cheerleading team. Is this something that you did growing up and knew that you wanted to compete in college?
Yeah. So I was on the Florida State club competitive team, cheered there, and I've been doing cheerleading my whole life. So ever since I was 5, I never missed a season. So I've always cheered, and then ended up cheering there. And I'm actually coaching at the gym now that I was raised at. So.
Wow. Now that, I tell you what, that sport it's mind boggling to me. I am far from a cheerleader, but I got sucked into this Netflix series about cheer.
Exactly.
I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes, I have, for sure. And that's exactly it.
Okay, it's true. So it's really like that. Real. It's really cutthroat. I mean, it's very physical for all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. We actually had a resident student mom. She's still with us at Auburn. She was in that documentary.
Really?
So she too did cheerleading, competitive cheerleading. And it is really wild to watch. I mean, the amount of stress and strength that your body has to endure, especially those flyers and those bases. I'm like, it's absolutely mind blowing to me. I have a lot of respect for y'all.
Thank you.
So you find out you're pregnant. Talk us through, how did you know? Like, were there any signs?
So I'm going to be honest, I was pretty naive about the whole situation. I mean, I obviously know where babies come from and like that, but I was very naive about knowing your cycle, knowing don't have sex on this day, like did not know that. So if I knew the calendar, maybe I would have been, it was very clear. Basically, I missed my period. And it had been over a week, and that's when I kind of got nervous because my body is just like a clock. So I was like, oh gosh, like I thought there was a chance. Okay. But I was talking to my friend Taylor. It had almost been 2 weeks at this point. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And she said, well, let's just take a test just to make sure that you're not pregnant. And you need to go to the doctor since your period's not coming. I was like, you're right. So we took a test to make sure I wasn't pregnant. And and ended up being pregnant, obviously.
Oh my gosh. So looking at that pregnancy test, what were the first few emotions that flooded in?
Yeah, I was in complete shock. Like we actually were on FaceTime, so I like froze. Me and her were on FaceTime. I completely froze, didn't know what to do. She was like, "It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay."
Oh
And we're like, "Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be okay." Just completely, I was like, "What's my whole life? What's gonna happen? Like
yeah.
your whole life is just like flash before your eyes. Like this is not me." Not that I felt like I had this image to uphold, like I did great in school. I'm going to Florida State. I'm doing
Yeah.
all the right things. And this doesn't happen to me. Alex wouldn't do that. Like of all the people, not Alex. So it's a big adjustment.
It really is. In that moment, you almost sort of black out. I mean, it seems like an out of body experience, especially when this is something I find it interesting. We always think it's not going to happen to us. I mean,
Right.
that is the mentality across every interview. And it's comical now. Like once you're this far removed, I'm
Right.
14 years removed from my unplanned pregnancy. And I'm like, girl, why? Like, why? Why did you think it
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen?
Yeah. I thought, oh, it can't be me. Like not
It can't
me.
be me.
It can't be me.
Of course not. So when you find out you're pregnant, do you get it confirmed? Do you know what you're going to do? Walk us through what the next phase of your life is going to look like.
Yeah. So then at that point, I was living in Tallahassee, but all my doctors and everything was in Jacksonville.
Okay.
So in these moments, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, because I was like, am I going to keep the baby? Am I not going to keep the baby?
Yep.
So I'm in this back and forth of, I can't be a mom. Like, I don't know what to do. So I was honestly planning on not having the baby. So I was headed to Jacksonville because I thought you went to a doctor's office for that. Like that was what I didn't know. Doctors don't do that. So I'm going to the doctor's office and I called them. They said I had to go to Jacksonville. So I go to Jacksonville. They have to confirm the pregnancy. They have to, take me through all these steps and they're like, congratulations. Like they're super happy. I'm like, like we're not happy. I was like, no. And they're like, oh, like what do you don't want to like have a baby? And I was like, no, I thought you guys could help me not. And then they had to they gave me like a Planned Parenthood number. I didn't know, just didn't know. I ended up, calling the Planned Parenthood and the girl was just cutthroat. She was cutthroat on the phone. It was just, I probably was the 15th person to call that day. And she just gave me a spiel. And all these emotions, you're like, I'm pregnant, I'm scared. I hadn't told anybody except for my one friend. So nobody knows. I'm like in a bottle, scared to death. And I'm in Jacksonville. I have to go to school tomorrow in Tallahassee. So I'm just handling this whole situation. And on the phone, the lady is just, there's a pill that you can take. It's this much dollars. It's $600, or you can come in for the surgery. This is the next appointment. Do you want to book it? Like no emotion. No, I'm sorry. So I hung up just scared. Like, yeah, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. And I ended up waiting it probably took me 2 weeks to figure out what I was going to do. And I just said, I can't do that. I can't. That was always weighing on my heart that I wanted this baby. The way I just kept saying it was, I want this one. I want this one. Like, this is the one. You can't make the same baby again. So I was like, this is the one I want. And so after a couple weeks, I actually ended up going to church, on Christmas Eve. And they sing a song, "O Come Emmanuel." I don't know if you've heard that song, but it's just it's a church song about baby Jesus coming home. And anyways, Emmanuel, the name Emmanuel runs in my family. So all the boys' middle names is Emmanuel.
Wow.
Everybody's name's Emmanuel. So, it just felt like I was being talked to. I was like, this baby Jesus song is about a baby coming home. And I'm like, and Emmanuel's in my family. So that song pretty much is why I kept the baby. This because of the song at church. Oh my
goodness. That is wild. And at that point, did anybody know yet, or you were still navigating this emotionally alone?
So I was actually standing with two of my best friends next to me, just crying. Streams of tears from all of our eyes are just hitting the floor on a Christmas Eve service. Nobody's crying like this. We're just crying. Tears are just hitting the floor. And they're both rubbing my back, just rubbing my back. And they're the only two who knew, Taylor and Liv. So they were very supportive.
And that's hard for them too. I mean, when I look back and I think about the women that I told, I'm like, I would have been just as shocked as a friend to hear news like that and terrified to try to navigate them through their life and like what they need to do next. And so shout out to our friends who have held those secrets so deep and dear to their hearts for us on our behalf, because we truly need those types of people in our lives. Do you end up telling your parents, and what does that look like?
Yeah. So I was home for Christmas break, and this is why it was such a big, I have to make this decision now, is because the semester starts when we go back home for Christmas break. And my big decision was I was headed to med school or PA school. Wow. So I was like, I have to make this decision because you either have to, your classes are similar. If you want to finish, you can finish sooner, or med school needs like Calc 2. It needs like harder classes. I either could finish or I could keep going pre-med. And so I had 2 weeks to figure out, am I going to finish school or am I going on? I ended up going to, talking to a guidance counselor on the phone. And they said that my GPA, you could do it or you couldn't. So I just decided finish school. Yeah. Finish school, go home. I'm going to go home. I'm not going to do med school or PA school. So I made that decision. When I mentally made that decision, I was like, well, I'm having a baby. So I have to tell my parents. And I ended up telling them on that Christmas break before I went back. I said, I can't go back without telling them. So I ended up telling. So I ended up telling Mom, and she took it really well. She was like, I think at that time was so excited. All of the ladies that work with her are grandparents. Okay. So it was her turn, and I think she was excited. So I actually took her to the car. I said, hey, Mom, we have to go to the car. You can't be crazy in the car. I don't know. You're just sitting next to somebody.
You're confined.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know what my brain thought about safe in the car. I make her walk out of the house. We walk outside. Oh my gosh. And she's like, okay. So we're sitting in the car talking. And then, I tell her, I'm having a baby. She said, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a grandma. She gets out of the car, opens the door, gives me a hug. And then, so excited. But what was really sweet about my mom's reaction was she said, oh wait, are we keeping it? Or are we what are we doing? And my mom gave me an option, which she was like, she just took a second. She was like, are we having it? And she was like, just checking. So that was sweet because I know a lot of parents would not do that. But she was very supportive, and my dad was just the same. So she told me I had to go right then because they were divorced at the time. So she said, go drive to your dad's house, 5-minute drive. Drove over to Dad's house and told him. He was shocked. He was very shocked. He did handle it very well. I feel like he was just, you just don't expect it. Yeah.
No. And that's your little girl. That's your daughter. And so many things I can imagine are going through their heads at that moment. Just like, wait, what?
You're right. Who is Alex? I did not know this about her. So yeah, he just gave me a big bear hug and very supportive. Yeah.
So sweet. That is not the common response. No. That's not the common story that we hear on this podcast. And it makes a world of a difference. And God forbid this happens to me and my children one day. I hope to be the same. There is a lot of shock factor to it and a lot to digest, but at the end of the day, what's done is done. And it's figuring out the plan moving forward. So with that being said, the father of your child, what does it look like with him? Have you told him? What's his reaction?
Right. At that point, I had told him, that was, a FaceTime call. And he was like, we can't do this. We're in college, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a good time. He's like, we can't do this. It's not a good time. And and I was listening to that, and that was where I was in the beginning too. I was like, okay, I agree, but it's in your heart. I really wanted this one. I was like, but I want this one. I really want this one. And so I ended up not really listening. So.
So you decide to keep this baby, you decide to stay in school. I guess the elephant in the room now is, what about cheerleading? What happens there?
Yes, that's the big story. So I kept it a secret.
Okay.
So I wanted to cheer so bad because nationals was a big deal to me. That was where my passions was cheerleading. So nationals were in April. And at the time it was December. I was like, we're so close. Like, and I knew the seniors on the team, they needed me. They needed to finish this. That's all I cared about. So I knew, in a selfish way, I knew nobody else could do my spot, could back spot in my position and hold the flyer that I was holding. So I was like, I want to do this for the team. Like, and I still want to cheer. And I'm glad I did, because the year following was COVID and it got canceled anyway.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2019 was the last time I got to perform, the last time I got to do it. So thank God I did it, because I wouldn't have been able to the following year.
Did anyone on the squad know that you were pregnant?
No, I didn't.
No one knew.
I didn't tell a soul, because I was on the board. I was on exec for the team, and I knew them, and I knew that they would baby me. I knew that they would not put me in stuff. I knew that, and I didn't know the rules, and I wasn't going to look it up. Like, is that illegal to have a pregnant cheerleader? Is that allowed? Probably not. I don't know. So I didn't want to risk it at all for how bad I wanted to cheer.
Right.
I said, I'm going to do it anyway. But I did talk to my doctor. That is one that I talked to my OBGYN, and I told her, and she said it was okay as long as I was doing it prior to pregnancy. Like, as long as it wasn't a new skill, you can keep doing it. But so she said, okay. And I didn't tell anybody else, but, yeah.
So were you not showing much then? Like, I mean, those outfits are usually crop top and skirt.
It was. I think I was a little delusional, because I think I was showing, but I was like, it just looks like I'm gaining weight. Like, I was so in my head, thinking that it was not. And I performed at that competition 21 weeks pregnant.
21 weeks? You had a full-fledged baby in there.
A full baby at nationals, for sure. But in my head, it looked like I had gained weight. I was like, it just looks like I had gained weight. So the people, the people in Jacksonville knew. Everybody in Jacksonville knew the secret, and they just weren't allowed to post anything. And then everybody in Tallahassee didn't know. So it was I just kept my people apart. Two different worlds. I would go home. I remember there was one competition that was actually in Jacksonville. We drove to Jacksonville for a competition, and I was home, and I was 19 weeks, and I had a gender reveal in my pictures while I was home for competition, and then went back. It was crazy. I don't even know how I did
honestly that. Impressive that you were able to keep that hidden in today's social media world, honestly.
Right. It was good on my friends, because they knew I was serious. They kept it off of social media. I had a private Facebook page from my gender reveal. If it was an invite only, and they knew to be quiet. Everybody was quiet, except, and I kept it old fashioned. If you see me in the store, there's nothing I can do, but.
So when do you end up telling your team?
So the day after we competed. So we competed, I think it was on a Thursday or Friday. After we're headed home, wrapping up, all of the exec was upstairs in a hotel room. We were just packing up. And I said, guys, I have something to tell you. And they're like, what? And then I just, I pulled out my ultrasound and stuff. And they're like, no way, you're pregnant. And I was like, yeah. And then I said, do you want to know if it's a boy or girl? I already knew.
It's a full family.
I was I knew everything. They're like, so then they're just guessing. It's only 6 people in the room. They're like, boy, girl, boy. And then, I was like, it's a boy. And they're like, wow. They were so sweet. It was great. And
so sweet.
They actually gave me a whole baby shower, which was so nice. So after, and they still knew it was a secret. So I still hadn't posted on my, Instagram or anything. So they did a whole baby shower just for me. We didn't post it at all. Limited pictures, but it was really nice.
That is so sweet that they really supported you and rallied around you. And that's really what it's all about. That's what being on those teams is all about. So what does going to class while pregnant, walk us through that?
Yeah. Yeah. Going to class was tough because, when I was 9 months pregnant, like right there at the end, I had Ashton August 6th, and then my last final was July 27th. And I was like waddling, waddling my way to all the classes. I remember going to the doctor and asking for a handicap sticker.
Yes.
I said, I really need a handicap sticker. And they said, you're not handicapped. I said, I really am. I asked Florida State's parking authority. I said, can I please have a parking something? Because the mile, like I can remember walking that from the garage all the way across Landis Green. It was so far to get to this one specific building.
Yes.
It was so hard, and it took me double the time. I'm sweating. It's
the heat. The Tallahassee heat is unreal. The humidity, unreal.
So horrible. The only parking spots were handicap over there. So I was like, it was tough. That was probably the hardest part. And you know, when you're walking around on campus, people look at you a little different. So that was a bit of a change. Nobody's rude at all. Nobody says anything. But when your stomach hits the front of that little desk with that wood piece in front and your belly, I'm like hitting it. Like, I can't move.
No.
So it just, you look a little different. Like, you get double takes, a lot of double takes. Like, is she pregnant? Like,
absolutely. I remember I got to a point where I couldn't even fit sitting forward in my desk. I had to sit sideways and like crank my back to the side to be able to write. And then eventually they put me in a desk at the front of the freaking classroom. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, let's just parade. Let's show pony myself in front of these people. It was like a desk and a chair in one of the classrooms. And God for, they were trying to do their best. It is what it is. But I just felt like I had a neon sign like above my head being like, you do not belong. And everybody look at this. And I was just praying every day my water did not break in class. I'm like, please, I will take anything else, but please don't break during class.
I was just trying to make it through. Just make it to class. I would get to class late because I was walking so far. And I did not care. I'm like, at least I'm here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So what does it look like after you have your son?
Yeah. So after I had my son, I was lucky to have a lot of help, with my son. So my sister helped me, my mom helped me. But going back to school was tough. Yeah. And I was I worked full time while I was in college.
Wow.
So yeah. So
that's work, school, cheer, now baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole time. So when I first got to college, my parents paid for my apartment the first semester. And then after that, they said, you got to get a job. I said, okay. But I did live with my sister. She went to FAMU and I went to Florida State. So we were able to live together. But I had to work. I worked at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet was a car dealership in the accounting office. And anytime I wasn't in class, I was at work, just working, making money. So I still had to do that when I had him. Except I had those, like, I think you have 8 weeks off. But my 8 weeks off were unpaid because I was just a part-time person. So I would just watch him. Like, for those first 8 weeks, I was just watching him. It was a little bit lonely in that time. Yeah. So I would basically wake up, take him to daycare. And then I would go to work or class or vice versa. And then after I usually went to work, I would go breastfeed him at the daycare in the middle of the day. And then I would go back to school, back to class or either work. And then I would pick him up and then we would go to, I would go to cheer practice and then, I would go home after.
What characteristics do you feel like enabled you to be able to push through all of that? I mean, we have college students in today's world who are struggling just to get through college. Okay. Yeah. And now we're adding a job and we're adding the cheer squad and we're adding a newborn baby that you're doing it on your own as a single parent. What helped you push through that time?
Determination. I felt really determined to finish. I felt like I had to. But also part of me just wanted to keep going with my same life. Like, oh, this isn't going to hold me back. Like, nothing's going to change. I'm just going to bring a baby with me. So very like, this is fine. Like, this is just my life. This is just my life. Where some people, I think, makes you a little handicapped to the situation. But yeah.
We talked about this on the last episode. We were talking about athletes and just making sure people were aware of their protected rights as an athlete. You kind of talked about, I didn't want to look into it. I didn't want to know. We're just going to go with the flow. And that seems to be the case for a lot of athletes, or they drop out and they just think it's over completely.
Right.
But there is a common thread among athletes is, y'all are already grinding. You have work ethic. You have structure in your life. You know what it takes to push through something that's hard. And adding a baby to the mix, yeah, it's hard. But y'all as athletes already have that foundation built that I feel like makes you secure in your choice of we're just going to figure out a way to do it. You know, we figure out a way to manage our time when it comes to athletics and school. And so it's the same thing, just a little bit more.
Right. Exactly. So I felt like I was just adding a baby to this crazy mix. I was already doing full-time work, full-time school, and full-time cheer. So adding a baby, like I can do it. It's just one more thing.
Yes. Is there anything when you're thinking back that you feel like you would have done differently?
Yes, I think it didn't have to be a secret. Looking back, like it being a secret, like I don't have a reason of why. Like it was, the only reason would be to care what other people think. And now I don't care what people think. And it was just Instagram, like you're going to have a baby anyway. I post them every day. So they're going to find out. But I could have posted pregnancy pictures. I could have posted these fun times or shown people going through that whole thing. And I wish it wasn't a secret. And I also kind of took the opportunity of people who were so excited. People were so excited for me and they couldn't post it. They wanted to post it so bad. And I kind of took the opportunity to say, don't post it. But who would have cared? Who mattered? Nobody mattered enough to not know. So.
And you get there. You get to that mindset eventually. So if you're listening to this podcast and you are keeping it a secret, take it from girls who've walked through this journey ourselves. Be proud, be excited. You can't undo what's been done, and allowing that black cloud to just follow you and to keep that shame alive. It does only hurt us, you know, in the long run. And I'm so glad you took pictures, because when I was pregnant, I didn't even take pictures. Right. I have like 2 because that shame, I'm like, well, I'm not going to post. And so why would I take them? And I look back at it now and I'm like, oh, I wish you would have taken the photos.
I know. So I was actually looking over my cheer pictures to say, oh, which one can I send for this? And I was purposely taking pictures like chest up, every picture, because I knew, and I was like, oh, I can't show my stomach. But now I want to look back and be like, what could you see? How big was I? Like, and it's like, I was only pregnant one time. So I wish I could go back and see, like, how did I look at 10 weeks? How did I look? I don't know, because all my pictures are chest up. So
I can relate to that big time. So take me back to finally graduating. How did it make you feel knowing you overcame the odds and you got that diploma?
It felt amazing. I was over the moon. I was so excited. I was excited that I did it. Like I did what I had to do. I had a son, and against all odds, because, you know, sometimes people are like, oh gosh, like you have a baby. Like they just expected me to go home to Jacksonville. And I was like, no.
Right. No, we're here to stay and finish what we started.
Right. I finished in Tallahassee. I left with a 1-year-old. And it only took me, you know, it was only like 3 more semesters after.
Right.
So it wasn't a big deal.
I love that so much. And, with baby steps, I cannot wait to one day have a hub at FSU.
Yes.
Our goal is to be all over the nation, and FSU is definitely on the map because I feel like it would have given you an extra boost, a boost of confidence at the very least, seeing other students at your school on your campus who are walking through the same journey, because you probably didn't see anybody else who was pregnant. I didn't see anybody, but they're out there. Because let me tell you what, we have our Auburn house. It's full. We have 7 student moms living there. We average about 10 to 15 community student moms. Our house at Alabama, they're also full. They have 3 student moms living there, and they average about 8 student moms a semester. So they're out there. The community is out there. This still for some reason happens to be a topic that is too taboo for anybody to talk about. And we're here to end that. We're here to end the stigma and to give women their voices back. I mean, I think my biggest struggle was, what story was everybody telling about how I got pregnant? Did they think that I was just sleeping around? Or I knew the eyes were watching. I knew people were forming opinions, but to be able to come on the podcast and share my story, my narrative, and tell them exactly what I had walked through, I felt a little vindicated, and it let me own my own story and my son's story too.
Right, exactly. And I saw baby steps actually on Instagram, and I looked because I saw the Auburn house and I saw the Alabama house, and I was like, is there a Florida State house? So I was like looking it up. I was like, I didn't even know. But yeah, I think it would be great to have a Florida State house. That would have been really cool.
We take y'all's mascots and we make a baby version of them, and imagine a little Seminole. Oh my gosh.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be so cute. So I love to end the interviews with this question. If you could go back to your younger self and give her advice as you're finding out you're pregnant, what would you say to her? How would you encourage her?
I would probably say, you can do it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, and take your own advice. Because I feel like I was so nervous of like, oh, am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? Like, what are you supposed to do? And every mom means well. But everybody has their own opinion of, oh, like no pacifier, or, oh, feed them this much, give them rice. Like, just do whatever you want to do. Like, whatever you want to do is right. You'll be fine. And yeah, I wish I would have done that a little more.
They don't come with a manual. These babies don't come with a manual. And for every person on social media that's saying you need to do this, there's somebody else who's saying you need to do that. And that's one piece of it. I mean, social media wasn't as big when I was parenting, but now I'm like, it's an overload of information and the fear of, kind of like what you said, doing something wrong. It is scary. And trusting your mama instincts and trusting your gut and knowing that those babies are resilient, they're gonna be fine.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Alex. You were such an amazing guest, and I know your story is going to reach so many. What does life look like now? How old is your baby?
Yeah, he's 6 years old. So yes, big boy, we're going into first grade.
Oh my God.
So it is a big time. He's a lovable, mommy's his best friend. So I'm loving these years.
6 is such a precious age. They're coming into their own self.
Right.
Like they have their full personality and they're figuring out that world. And it's honestly a little terrifying because they're kind of flying the coop a little bit.
Yeah. They're not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
They're not a big kid yet. Like, so you're in this in the middle, in between. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Alex, again so much for joining us.
Yeah.
You were an amazing guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And for all of our listeners, we hope to have you back for our next episode of Unplanned and Untold. Bye-bye. Unplanned and Untold drops new episodes every other Wednesday. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you love this episode. I'm Caitlin Willing, and this is Unplanned and Untold.